skis and get the right wax combination.
So you're saying the big question is, what do they have to do differently today than yesterday?
Some will use a different ski with a different grind structure.
So you're saying a lot of the top names missing today, Poiré, Sjöholm, Olofsson, and asking whether it's going to be a little bit easier for Kati Wilhelm to defend the yellow bib of the World Cup leader.
Frank doesn't think so. He says because Pilieva and Sandrine Bailly are also here, who are clearly chasing the hunt for the leader overall.
Another big thing with the Masstart is that it's now part of the Olympic program. It will take place in Torino 2006, and Ziggy just wanting to know how Frank liked this particular discipline.
Frank says, to be honest, I didn't like it very much. In my whole career I only had one good Masstart. Somehow it wasn't my discipline at all.
Well, someone's going to improve on Frank Luke's performances today. Who is it going to be amongst the women? Sandrine Bailly, very much the favourite to take the win here in the last race of this 8th round of the Biathlon World Cup. And it's great to have two races on one day, Mike. I do feel the crowd are somewhat shortchanged when we just have one pursuit, which takes 35-40 minutes, and then it's all over and done.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but it's the athletes, you need to build a rest day in for the men and the women. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, but the women haven't had a rest day since they raced yesterday, so that argument doesn't work.
But, well, when you're spreading it from Wednesday through till Sunday, you can build in more of a rest phase from the previous week's racing.
You know full well they're just trying to raise revenue by getting the crowds in 2 successive days. Nothing against that, but I just think this double-header creates such a good atmosphere.
It is, this is one of my favourite races, the Massstarts, and when you get one behind the other, you're still on the adrenaline from the previous race. Uschi Diesel to the front.
Well, no surprise there. She's been the #1 starter in the German team for about 15 years now, and we suspect she will lead the way in the World Championship relay, and Diesel goes straight to the front where she can control the pace. As we mentioned, Poiré and Sjöholm of Norway not racing. The Russians missing some of the big names, Shona Usova, Akhятova, who's been a little bit ill. So opportunities for the lesser known names to come through, and we'll do our best to pick them out. But the bib numbers, Wilhelm wearing the yellow bib as the new World Cup leader. She's overtaken Olga Pilieva, but it's very tight indeed. Bailly wearing number 3, Zaitseva 4, Diesel 5, leading the way at the moment. Martina Glago 6, Zubrilova 7, and Xingyang Lu of China down in 8th position, or wearing bib number 8, lying in 3rd position at the moment. So a good start from Lu.
Little final. They carry speed, the women on the women's track, into the big climb. The men had to go on the flat before the big climb.
Now, really important in the start to try and get clear, because as soon as they start skating, there is, of course, that danger of having someone else ski over the top of your ski. If that happens, you go straight down on the ground. There's no chance of recovery.
And I'm sure we'll see that today. That's the difficulty. 30 of the best in the world all together, especially on these steep climbs here. It is going to happen. Sticks are going to, or ski poles are going to go between your main competitors' skis, and there will be falls.
Look at the difference between Uschi Diesel and Sandrine Bailly at the front. Diesel very low, lots of flexion at the hip. It's a hard working style from Diesel. Compare that to Sandrine Bailly sitting in 2nd place. She looks so comfortable, nice and upright, all the way going down through the hips, through the ankles, no excess energy going into holding the position. Such a contrast, Mike, and it's no surprise that Bailly now going ahead.
Clearly efficient, weighted well. Be interesting here to see how Zhang's skis are going to glide down this big hill. She's in 3rd right now, and we'll get a good comparison to see how, or if she loses any speed whatsoever.
Yeah, good dash down into the stadium. Going well is Ishtag Christensen, wearing number 10 for Norway. She's always there or thereabouts. Looks like Tora Berger just going through for the Norwegians as well. Guseva of Russia's had a good week so far, but finds herself outside the top 15. Zubrilova way down off the pace at the moment, 23rd. Just a couple of places ahead of Alaska's Rachel Steer. Races for America, of course, but lives in Anchorage. Any races held up there?
There hasn't been, certainly in the last 20 years that I know of. closest we've been is Quebec. Well, that's certainly the other side, but the furthest north was over in Quebec. And of course there's the Canmore, lots of good venues in North America. I think there's 32 clubs, biathlon clubs in America, and they develop a lot of young up-and-coming biathletes. Growing sport over there.
So when do you see the Americans actually catching up with the top European teams?
They've been trying, haven't they, the last 15 years. I'm not sure they will. We've certainly, like Jay Hakkinen and of course Rachel, we have some top class biathletes, but they're not able quite to bridge that gap to get in the top 5, top 10 regular. And they have snow up there for 6-7 months of the year. Have all the possibilities.
Plenty of training, but you really need to be training amongst the best to match the best. But Jay Hakkinen spends a lot of time in Europe.
Well, and then the Chinese, there we see the ups, or the rise. I did say Zhang earlier, didn't I? I beg your pardon, it's Liu. The Chinese, they're very isolated, but are able to come here, and we've seen how many medals they're winning this year. They're doing so well.
Only 15 seconds separating the top 12 positions. Martina Glago is in there, but Sandrine Bay looking ominously smooth on her skis. Diesel in second. Xinglang Lu looks to be under control at the moment, but cross your fingers for her first shoot. Caddy Wilhelm in fourth, not really struggling at the moment, and a good ski from Ishtad Christiansen of Norway. So 5 nations represented in the top 5 positions. Then we come to Simone Denkinger, who's starting to show what she's really capable of.
She certainly is making a comeback. Her ski speed is certainly improving. And it was good to see Liu, her skis at the bottom of the long glide. She did not lose any time on the downhill.
So Sandrine Bay in lane 3. That corresponds to both her bib number and her World Cup position at the moment. And she has not had any problem hitting the targets so far this week. And these probably the kindest conditions they've had in the last 4 days.
Wilhelm is being so careful building her position. Clearly wants 5 with 5.
Promising start for Bailly. She's gone clear. Ishtad Christensen with her first miss. Hit the first 3. Denkinger has gone wide as well. A disaster for Uschi Diesel, the German veteran. What is going on in Diesel's mind? Her form starting to drop away, having had a brilliant start to the season. Pilieva goes clear, as we would expect for Russia. She's not on the best ski form, but she's still confident with the rifle. Brankovic goes clear for Slovenia, Mike. That's got the crowd going a little. And Martina Glago, as ever, 5 with 5.
Yep, well done, Martina. It's so strong in her mind, Martina. When it comes to shooting and pressure, she can deal with it. And there we are, 20 seconds off the lead.
There's the race leader. And I guess the writing was on the wall for Bay. She was well in control, well within her skiing capabilities on that first loop, and she just took it nice and steady, cleared the targets, and away she goes, doing exactly the same to the women's race as we've just seen from Oleana Bjorndalen in the men's. 9 seconds the lead over Olga Pilieva. Not a significant amount as yet, but I expect that will grow to around 15 after the next loop. Caddy Wilhelm on the heels of Pilieva. That could, now Mike, that can work for and against.
It can, but Wilhelm has a strategy here. We can see she did not push too hard into the range, and I think she'll be happy to stay behind Pilieva on this loop.
Well, we'll find out in just a moment. Another quick break coming up, and we'll... First shoot completed, 3 still to go in Pokljuka and the women's mass start. Only the second mass start of the season, and so the order at the top of the Mass Start World Cup could change, and probably will change, because Liv-Greta Poiré, who won in Östersund, not racing today, and she's on a recovery mission, I guess we could call it. What's different about Bay's style, other than the fact that it's so smooth, Mike?
Her hips are very far forward, so but to do that you have to increase the angle from your ankle to your knee, but I think that weight forward, it certainly makes it more efficient when you're travelling up steep hills like this, rather than being bent way over. So So keeping a high hip is one thing.
And I like the fact that the knee is nearly always over the ski. So you have a nice flat ski as opposed to an edged one. Uschi Diesel is the antithesis of that. So if you watch her, lots of, I guess we could call it knock knee syndrome, with the knee going to the inside. But Sandrine stays nice and straight with the legs. And that glide ski absolutely perfectly flat, which is obviously the best position for the ski to glide.
Indeed, and she really is on great speed, great condition.
Here comes Olga Pilieva.
So maybe gained 5 seconds since the range.
16.1. So
7 seconds.
Pulling away the Frenchwoman, and almost now at the stage where she can afford a miss. I don't think it's that likely, but strange things have happened. Going through number 27, a newcomer to the top of the World Cup standing, Zuxie Hu of China. We cease to be amazed by what the Chinese can do. 29.5 behind. Martina Glago in 5th. Nice steady start for Glago. If she could finish in the top 3, that would be the real boost that she's been after for a couple of weeks now. Denkinger threatening yet again, 40 seconds behind. Liu has dropped down to 43rd. Xingyang Liu with 1 miss and 1 penalty skied. Zabrilova, 23rd last time round, up into 13th now, but 51 seconds off the pace, just ahead of the local girl, Andrea Marley, for Slovenia in 14th.
Well, that's 2 Slovenian girls in the top 15, and the spectators in the stadium, they are well and truly charged up and excited. They would love a medal here, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be great for Slovenia, for Brankovic or Mali?
Well, they're going to have to shoot clear from now on in to have any chance at all, and hope that the leading 3 all make mistakes in the range when the tension builds in the closing stages.
There's a 3rd Slovenian, Grigorin, as well.
Now, just put you on the line, Mike. Who do you think is going to take the overall this year? It's as close as we've ever seen it. 3 women in contention. Wilhelm, who leads at the moment. Pilieva in 2nd. She's 606. So she's only 8 points behind at the moment. And Sandrine Bay down in 3rd. But if you take away their 3 worst races, Pilieva actually in front, with Bay in 2nd and Wilhelm down in 3rd.
It's going to be so close. I mean, when you look at the way Sandrine Bay is performing now, my thought is that she can certainly take the title. There's still 9 races, including this one. Still 9 more races which score points, and athletes can lose, especially in the latter part of the season. Your legs, your muscles and your mind, everything becomes fatigued. But Bailly is the one who's on the charge. The form is on the way up, more so than the other 2.
Well, it has to be said, she was on this sort of form at the beginning of last year, and that form lasted right the way through until January. So she survived 4 World Cups, in fact, Pontiolahti, Hochfilzen, Orzabli in Slovakia, and Poklюka. And here she is preparing for shoot number 2 before the others have even settled. One mistake would open the door a fraction. It's not going to happen. 10 out of 10 in the prone for Bay. Now Pilieva and Wilhelm well aware that they can't afford an error, and the wind's starting to pick up, could throw a few shots wide.
Pilieva steady as always, determined.
Good shooting from Pilieva. She moves up into 2nd and ahead of the current World Cup leader, Kati Wilhelm, who's had her nerve somewhat rattled by that performance from Bay and Pilieva. But 1 shot to go for Wilhelm. It's taken an awful long time, and she's still got a penalty loop to do. She's going to be at least 45 seconds off the lead and could possibly lose 4 or 5 places. Xingyang Liu, is she going to come back into it? 4 out of 4 so far. Same for Martina Glago, 4 out of 4. Liu's last one goes wide. Glago gets it down. And also Ishtag Christensen, Mike. She could come out in the top 5.
Zabrilova clear, Brankovic clear. Yin, couple of mistakes.
Possibly skiing a little too hard on that last loop. Andrea Marley, let's hope she gets her last one down. Oh, she's missed it, and a groan coming from the crowd there. Hu of China is in 5th, 55.3. Wilhelm 6, just behind her. Zabrilova 59 behind, still got a chance of winning this one with just over 6 kilometers to go. Denking at 105. and just ahead of Xingyang Lu, 11th place now. A bit of a yo-yo performance for Lu. She's up and down, gaining ground on the skiing, losing it each time she comes in to shoot. And if she can hit all the standing, then she's still got a chance of getting into the top 5 today.
Lucy Diesel missed a further 2. And when she missed 3 the previous time, only 50%. 5 out of 10 targets in the prone. That's a disaster for Ushi.
This is how the form woman is doing it at the moment. Plenty of time to prepare the position. There's Mali with the last miss.
In some ways, Mali quite fortunate to get a start today because Ishmuratova, Sheronusova not here.
3 of the top 8 missing targets, but Ishtad, Hu and Kari Wilhelm have some chasing to do, as you can see. Martina Glago still clear at the moment, up into 3rd. That will be the first podium for a while if she can hold on to that position. But the standing shoot has been a little rocky this season. She was way up at 86% last year, but last couple of weeks she's been down below 80% in the standing. Norway chasing China. There's Glago just behind at the back of that trio, and they all seem to have upped the pace. Kari Wilhelm found herself demoted outside the top 5. She's skiing just ahead of Elena Zubrilova in the green ski suit, characteristic style. Watch the right wrist of Zubrilova if you get a chance. Peculiar angle. Ishtad Christensen, one of the taller figures, and the heavier athletes must struggle a little bit on this long hill.
Well, that's right. You've got a couple of big climbs in the women's course. That's a steep climb. And now what? It takes about 2 minutes to go from the bottom to the top of this next climb. And you're right, it maybe is a slight advantage having a smaller framework.
The short hills don't matter quite so much, but if you are bulkier, certainly in the men's, like Sven Fischer, he wasn't as dynamic today as we were expecting. And if you look at the men's results, Poré and Bjorndal and the 2 floaters in the men's squad, they just ate this course up without any problem at all. On the women's, Sandrine Bailly, very slight figure, and she's just well, it looks effortless. I know there's a pulse rate of something approaching 200 going on inside that rib cage, but she's finding it much easier than many of the others.
Indeed she is, and Pilieva beginning to turn up the pace. Brankovic just looking further down, the local girl. She only needs to find 9 seconds to move up into 4th place. Brankovic is one of the few, there are only 3 in fact from the top 30 whose stand shooting is better than their prone shooting.
Still 2 shoots to go here in Pokljuka, and still waiting to see the gap between Sandrine Bailly and the leaders. When she came out of the last shoot, she had a gap of 18.5, and Olga Pilieva has lost a little bit more time, 26.5 now, and she can afford, well, Bailly can afford 1 miss on that first stand, but she'll be hoping to go clear and keep the pressure on right the way through to the end. A good battle for the 3rd position, Mike. This is going to be a fascinating race as things unfold, but it could all change when we come in for this next stand. I just get a little bit nervous for the Chinese athletes skiing so fast. I don't see how they can stand and hold their aim. Well, they're not going to hold it on, but I don't see how they can hit the standing targets.
They work so hard. There's Hao, Uxia Hao, head down. I mean, she really does display a lot of the fatigue that is going on in her body. Close though, Patrick. We've got 1 minute, in fact 56 seconds separating the first 14, so it can all change very quickly, these 2 stand shoots. Brankovic is losing speed. She was 8th, down to 10th now.
And Xingyang Lu, who's made a bit of a recovery on each of the first 2 loops, I think starting to look as though she's starting to tire as well. Lu very, very good in the sprint events. 5th here in Pokljuka, 4 times in the top 5 so far this year. Well, lots of surprise names in the lead position. I think Brankovic will be delighted to be in the top 10. Makarova as well of Russia, currently in 9th place. Olga Zaitseva, who I think we were expecting a little better from her, but a mistake early on from Zaitsev in the first shoot.
Well, I get a feeling Katie Wilhelm hasn't opened up to her full possibilities yet. She's playing this game very sensibly, and that is an aspect of this mass start. You don't want to push your absolute maximum in the first two, certainly first two loops. Save a little bit for when it really matters.
I agree. I think her tempo looked considerably slower than maximum. This woman has been going flat out from the start. 26 seconds ahead at the last split time, and just not a mechanical fault. I think just getting the drills muddled up, but she's back in position. Third shoot of 4.
Oh, things change just a little bit now.
Limits the damage. Just one miss for Sandrine Bay now. Can Olga Pilieva hold her nerve in this situation? Really needs a good run here today. 82% hit rate so far this year in the stand. Lots of movement.
She must be tempted to increase the pace of her shooting here, but she's so disciplined she won't.
Lost count. Well, she took her time. Mike has lost a few seconds to Bailly, but she's still in the race. Bailly, remember, 1 penalty loop. What is the time difference? It will be around 14, 15 seconds. It was over 26 when they came in to shoot. 14.9 seconds. Pilieva behind and holds on to second place for now. Who has thrown away her chance of a podium finish? Denkinger likewise, 2 misses. Zaitsev, 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5 for Zaitsev. She's moved 5 places up the rankings, could even move into third now. Zabrilova goes with her, another clear shoot, and Martina Gargo stays 15 out of 15 on the day. She still has a chance of stepping up on the podium later on this afternoon. Mistakes from Brankovic, Mike, is that too much? Can she come back from there?
She's not skiing so fast out here, so I don't think she can move much further up than where she is. Lou as well, she missed a couple of targets, couldn't believe it. As she stepped off the target, she was looking back desperate that it wasn't 2, but it actually was.
1 miss for Arpel, 1 miss for Makarova, and Yin of China, as we suggested, Mike, 3 misses. The same happened to Hu. Now they've obviously decided, let's ski fast and give ourselves a chance, but you don't need to remind them that this is all about 2 very different sports, and if you push too hard in one, you've got no chance in the other. Pareto clear at the moment, one of the up-and-coming stars in the French team. Nice slow shoot from Pareto, no panic there. And her teammate now 500-600 meters away from the firing point. The third shoot not successfully completed, but 4 out of 5, enough to maintain the lead.
Ponza, she's been unwell lately. She was down to start yesterday, but still didn't feel good, but hit 15 with 15 and 10th.
Now, the one thing that has changed, Mike, is that Bailly is not going to have the range to herself this time round. Pilieva will come in and join her in the on the adjacent firing map, and that is going to be a question of whether Bailly can keep the focus, keep the concentration.
It will affect her. As you say, she's had this lead almost from the start, and this time she'll hear breathing right on her left shoulder, and it'll be from this woman here, Pilieva. Pilieva probably will, though, lose a further 6 or 7 seconds, so it'll be 20 seconds, I imagine, the gap when they come back to the range. And this hill now gets tougher and tougher. 4th time up. And they've got one more time round these woods after the range for the final shoot. A little bit of recovery there. It feels so good, the recovery. Trying to carry all your speed down the hill.
Ishtat Christiansen of Norway still slightly ahead of Caddy Wilhelm, but Wilhelm starting to turn it on. She looks to be going up here slightly easier than Ishtat, but Ishtat digging deep, responding to the coach. Just proves how important it is to have manpower out on the course, especially on the tough sections. And Ishtat, all credit to her, digging deep when the coach asked her to. Frankovitz. Training on these tracks is one thing, racing on them quite another. Well, you can hear that Bailly has her supporters out there. What do the Russians say when they go past on the track?
It's been so long ago I can't remember. They don't say too much. They don't quite get as involved as a lot of the other coaches.
Ale from the French, you have Die from the Italians.
Oh, I can't. Not for the life of me. It's slipped me. I've heard it so many times as well.
Well, someone out there must know. Will do let us know. Get on our email. Let us give us some questions or any points you want to make on biathlonboys@hotmail.co.uk. That's the address we're using this season.
Well, things are changing on this loop. It was 14.9 seconds, and now it's 17.7.
But still, it's within that margin. I think Olga Pilieva, if she goes clear and Bailly only misses one, we're going to have an almighty race. But I would suggest that the Frenchwoman will be able to overhaul Pilieva on the last leg.
Or is Pilieva saving just a little something for the final charge, the final 2.5 kilometers?
Quite possibly. We're going to have to wait to find out. Zaitseva moves up into third. Two Russians in the top three at the moment, and Elena Zabrilova. That's a good performance by her. She won the individual race in Antolz a few weeks back. That was a bit of a surprise, but she's back on form. Fourth position now, just ahead of Klargo, who's 13 seconds down. That will be an interesting battle, but I don't think Klargo's got the ski speed to overtake Zabrilova this time. Up past the 8.8 kilometre stage for Ishtat, and she's pulling away, Mike. Ishtat not having a bad ski at all. 1:12, opening a gap over Denkinger, who is now 1:30 behind, but Wilhelm of the chasing group seems to be moving best, and she's got herself back into sixth position. A clear shoot for Catty on that last shoot could change things. Lewin, who, despite missing a whole mass of targets on that last, or the first of the standing shoots, still got a chance. 1:46 behind, so they're 30 seconds or so off a top 7 result.
Well, Lou is skiing the fastest now, even faster than this woman. So Lou is trying to close the gap, try and pull something back to make up for her mistakes on the range. Uschi Diesel, the worst shot today so far. She's missed 7, down in 28th position. She'll be gutted, devastated.
Well, she's got a whole mass of fans out there, but I would suggest that Uschi Diesel, already 152 points off the leaders in the World Cup standings, has got to focus on the World Championships. Just a question of which event has she got the best chance in?
Well, the coaches between now and then, there will be test races, time trials within teams now leading into the World Championships, just to see what's happening in the 5 or 6 days before the first race.
And you have to bear in mind also that Uschi, despite being German, lives in Austria, so she'll have plenty of support in Hofdürsen. Now, Bailly, last shoot, 5 out of 5 to make it 3 wins in a row, and a week that she wouldn't have dreamt of in Pokljuka.
Well, the coach glanced left and saw Pilieva's 22.2 seconds behind just coming into the range.
Now, that really does open it up for Pilieva. She needs to hit 5, really, to win this one. If she hits 4, then we've got a ski race on our hands, but Sandrine Bailly, the quicker of the two, we've seen that so far. A problem for Pilieva now. Will she forget that, or is it going to throw shots wide? The snow thickening, visibility not as good.
It slowed Pilieva down by 4 or 5 seconds, trying to clear the snowflake. Great discipline, Pilieva. tempted to rush. Sandrine Bellier, one more penalty loop to go.
Tension in the face. Oh, and that has cost her the race. It just you just felt a little nervous for her, and she threw it wide, screwing up the face. Pilieva has thrown away her chance of winning this one. One penalty loop for her to ski. Zaitseva has a chance of going third. She's going to have to chase hard. She's gone 4 out of 5, and Zabrilova could take a podium finish if this goes down. Oh, she's missed one as well. Wilhelm, Glago, Ishtab. Which of those is going to shoot 5 out of 5? Most of the smart money would be on Glago.
Indeed, Wilhelm, though, has saved us a little bit of something.
And she's got the 5. Full house for Kati Wilhelm. She's on the chase, and that is going to limit the damage in the World Cup standings. Bailly almost certainly going to pick up the full 50 points today for a win. Pilieva 12.8 behind. Wilhelm 24.5, so 12 seconds to gain on Pilieva. What do you reckon? She's got line of sight, she's got the scent.
Indeed, as you say, when you see an athlete there in front of you, you know you can go from third to second. It brings something special, but I think that is just too much. 12 seconds at this stage is too much for Wilhelm.
And we're going to find out how good an effect the Armenian altitude training has had on Zaitseva. She's in 4th, got a few seconds to make up, 3 seconds to make up on Kati Wilhelm. Martina Glago, not the perfect shoot we were expecting, 40 seconds down, and she's got a race on her hands with teammate Simone Denkinger in 6th at the moment. Ishtar Christensen featured early on, still in 7th, but 52 seconds off the pace. Going to see Ponza clearing up on the last shoot. Mike, that's not a bad shooting day for her.
That's a fantastic, that's 20 shots fired, 20 targets hit. Ponza, last 3 races she hasn't been able to start, been unwell, so a great comeback. Denkinger, though, is skiing the fastest, missed 4 targets and only 40 seconds behind Sandrine Bellier.
Yin of China has just gone clear on that last stand, and she could be the best of the Chinese today. They've been up and down all day. Katrine Arpel once again positioned around 10-11 time and time again. When is she going to win again? Hasn't won since 2002, and in that year she got 3 victories, but Arpel just has been so close, but still 30 to 45 seconds too slow.
It's so close, isn't it? You'd think that would, on one given day, would be possible to close, or on a special day you could make it happen. Well, Sandrine looks like she's panicking. It's not that flow we saw earlier.
I don't think it's necessary. The gap, certainly by our reckoning, 12.8 seconds.
Well, remember in RuPoling, Lou was 11 seconds ahead with only, what, 500-600 meters to go. But there was that very fast left-hand corner where she fell, and it let Pilieva come through ahead of her. But I can't see that happening today.
Well, both Bailly and Pilieva through the first of the technical corners. I guess the only other trouble spot is where they come down and cross over the valley bottom, Mike, and then up the killer hill on the other side. That corner down there, with these conditions, the snow's soft but firm, and it's responsive. There's no icy patches underneath. We've had enough natural snow now to cover those up, so I can't see any problem. But if she's really tired and a little bit nervous, then maybe Bailly will make a mistake.
There's Zaitseva chasing or trying to catch Wilhelm. They left the range with only 4 seconds between them. It looks like that's increased to about 6 seconds now.
So the top 3 in the World Cup standings in reverse order at the moment. Wilhelm in 3rd, Pilieva 2nd, Bailly down in 3rd, but it does tighten the situation up. We'll try and get a prediction of what's going to happen. Certainly, if this woman doesn't fall, she's going to pick up the full 50 points today.
Oh, it's a close fight. Well, Wilhelm is going for 2nd, not 3rd. The 12 seconds that she was behind Pilieva, well, she's believing she can close that gap.
Now, has Pilieva been informed of what's going on behind? She needs to be a little bit aware. It's never a good idea to look over your shoulder, but she really does need to turn it on. If she can get to the top of the hill and still have 10-15 meters on Wilhelm, then you think she'll probably be safe. But if Wilhelm gets onto the back of Pilieva before the top, she'll get a free ride down the hill, along the flat at the bottom, and will probably put in the quicker sprint.
Well, it's all about points. for the overall World Cup score now, and psychologically for Wilhelm, if she can just close this gap. Doesn't look possible though. We're running out of snow, running out of space.
She was 12 seconds behind. Pilieva needs to come through at around 22, 23 to have a chance. It's going to be a little bit slower than that. The clock stops at 25, still 11 seconds in it. Wilhelm, I think that was just deceptive. She hasn't really closed that much down, 5 or 6 meters maybe. She's got an awful long way to go if she's going to make it second place. Zeitsaver blown away by the pace of Kati Wilhelm, 34.4 behind, but safely ahead of Simone Denkinger, who's having another top run. Denkinger, Mike, it's been a slow rise to the top, but she's got on the podium for the first time ever this year. There she is in 5th place. A possibility for medals.
A possibility indeed. She really is skiing fast out there, Denkinger. And yes, only recently her form's come back, so again she's trying to make an impression to be selected in just 2 weeks' time.
Ishtar Christensen looking very tired. Zabrilova going through nice style from here. And here's one of the less known Chinese, Kuo Yin, going through just behind Zabrilova in the top 10 positions at the moment, and the best of the Chinese. Now, if they can all put a good relay run together, they could end up as, it might be worth a bet. You'll get good odds on China taking the World Championship relay title. But the way they're skiing, Mike, if they can control the shooting and make sure of all the targets, then they've certainly got a very good chance.
Without a doubt, they just really are a team that is on the way up. As you say, their ski speed is great. The Chinese, if this was straight cross-country racing, the Chinese would be first or second. But then the combination of the controlling your mind and body under extreme pressure, they haven't quite mastered that yet. On occasions they do, but not every day, like Pilieva. So consistent.
Clear shoots today belonging to Martina Glago and of course Michela Ponza of Italy, who we mentioned. She's not skiing as well as she was in the first half of the season. Now, has Wilhelm closed the gap at all? She's now under 10 seconds behind. It's been a very good descent from Kati Wilhelm. She's turning it on, trying to catch Olga Pilieva in second place. Bay is away and clear. 3 mistakes on the day. Those 2 misses on the last stand gave Pilieva a chance, but the snow combined with the fact, I think it really was the snow that disrupted Pilieva and destroyed her concentration.
It did, yes. Normally she builds that position and it's like concrete, reinforced concrete, with the last shot, again, a bit of an indication of pressure, but it's all about Bay.
Well, if these races are an indication of who is going to take the titles in Hogfilsen in 2 weeks' time, then Sandrine Bay will be on the top of your list. 3 wins out of 3 here in Pokljuka. An astonishing run of results, out-skiing everyone in the sprint, the pursuit, and today the Masstart. Pilieva holds on to second place. Good, solid ski. I don't think she was panicking quite as much as we were. And Kati Wilhelm well in control, 3rd position. So she picks up 43 points, loses a little bit of ground, but I think she's still going to be the yellow bib holder when we go to Hogfilsen. We'll have to do the calculations.
The women are slightly more sporting than the men. They immediately go over and congratulate each other. I noticed in the men's race there wasn't a lot of that at the sharp end.
That's because Bjorn Dahlen was so far ahead. He was in the warming down hut.
He was having a shower.
Zeitsaver for Denkinger. Big smile on her face, as always, when she finishes in the top 5, and she's achieved that again. Ishtar Christensen looked a little bit sluggish on the last loop, but has held on to 6th, ahead of Martina Glago, who lost another 20 seconds on that last loop. 1:03.9 behind. She needs a little bit of sharpening up before the World Championships, but I'm sure she knows exactly what she's got to do. Coming in 8th position for the Chinese. Best result ever for Yin. 8th position, 1:22 down.
Pretty good for the 19-year-old. She's only 19 and able to stay up that far with the best.
And she's out-skied Elena Zabrilova on the last loop. Zabrilova in the top 10. Again, an average season by Zabrilova's standards, but if she can just hit top form at the right time, she could be a gold medalist. Makarova in 10, Ponza with a clear shoot in 11, and Katrina Arpel pushed down 1 place on that last loop into 12th, but finishing ahead of Hu and Lu in 13-14. What were the Chinese shooting results in the end, Mike?
Well, there we are. Lu missed 6. Hu missed 6 as well.
And most of those in the standing.
And Yin, the 19-year-old, missed 5. But what a ski time from the young Yin, 19-year-old girl.
respectable result for Brankovic. She wanted top 10 today, she's missed that, but top 15, valuable points in the World Cup standings, 209 off the leaders. Grigorin, another Slovenian in the top 16. They went very well for the first stage with only one miss between them in the two prone shots, but just slipping up on the first of the two standings.
Well, the 24-year-old Grigorin really is having a great season since last week in Italy, really, and getting points or gaining points in many of the races recently.
Yeah, we do tend to focus on the leaders, obviously, so you know exactly what's going on, but all those who finish regularly in the top 20, top 30, they're always looking at just improving the position 1 or 2% each time they come out, and Grigorin certainly falls into that category. As you say, a nice steady rise up through the order. Pareto, on the other hand, has had a meteoric rise. It's been a fantastic run of results here in the last 2 weeks. Diesel 20th, she won't be happy with that, will want to forget that, and she knows that really does not only damage her chances for the overall World Cup, but really puts a question mark on her World Championship performances.
I think it does indeed. When the rest of the German team, we've got Denkinger coming up into form, Glago always shooting well, but not skiing so fast. Tough team to get into, and of course Katrine Appel, 12th again.
Olga Nazarova just finishing her run. Magdalena Guisdon. Great sprint event in San Sicario, finishing second, but hasn't been able to reproduce that sort of form since then. 3:47 down. Ivanova, who broke a rifle last week in San Sicario, waiting for a new rifle to arrive from, or a new stock, I should say, to come from Novosibirsk, but using the team spare at the moment. 26th for her.
Rachel Steer normally shoots a little better than that. She missed 2:2.02. 3 minutes 55 behind.
And Andrea Henkel, 4:10. That won't do her chances of gaining selection for the World Championships any good at all. 4 minutes 10 behind Henkel. She's missed 2:1.12, so 6 targets in all, and there'll certainly be a little bit of panic going on in her mind.
That was Eva Tofalvi. In fact, this is Eva Tofalvi, the only Romanian.
But the day belonging once again to Sandrine Bailly, her third successive win here in Pokljuka. Just a few more finishers, in fact one more finisher to come in. 30 starting in the mass start. Maybe in years to come they'll increase the size of the ranges, or they'll figure out some way of including more people in the mass start. At the moment it's 30. Tofalvi finishing 29 for Romania, and Andrea Marley, who started well but then had a little bit of a nightmare as the race went on. Marley with 3 misses on the first of the standing shoots, and that put her out of contention. 5:22 behind. So, thanks for your company today, and indeed throughout the whole week. Been a great week for Sandrine Bailly. Oliana Bjorndalen back on form, winning the men's mass start, and we're set now for the World Championships. 2 weeks' time before we go to Hochfilzen in Austria. Looking forward to that. Thanks again for your company. Thanks also to Mike Dixon for his expert commentary, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye from Pokljuka.